had a good intro.
No.
Not about the dick.
What's your name?
What's my name?
Yeah. Say your name.
Kate Cordial. Are you
All
just trying to get the sound down?
Say it loudly.
Kate Cordial.
Not slowly, loudly.
Kate Cordial?
And I'm Michael Somerville. Stop moving. Why are you moving?
I'm not sure what's happening. Is this just a test?
Yes, potentially. Or perhaps this is the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Somerville. Live here, Michael Somerville. Oh my God, look, see, I'm shouting, and that's the problem. That's why I put it closer to you, because I shout and I spike. Say something.
Say something. That's a song. Do you not know that song?
Not the way you sing it.
This is definitely getting restarted, just so we're all
No,
aware.
this is the episode.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So, greetings from Somerville. Here we are. This is a very special episode. So, second time.
This is number 2.
This is number 2. But for the first time in my life, we've been doing this for over 2 years, and once in a while I hand over the reins to another person to host the episode. And the only times I've ever done that have been my brother, my lovely brother Steve, who is a wonderful host, and everyone always loves them. But then I had my girlfriend Kate on.
He was a wonderful host. But now he's been replaced. I'm sorry, Steven.
Oh, wow.
I'm here now, and I live with him, so this is much more convenient for everybody involved.
Well, proximity-wise, I have to agree. This is definitely... But also, your episode, not that long ago, spiked. I got to say, you were a very popular guest. I had you on as my girlfriend. And this whole thing, I've been trying to do, interesting people from my life. I'm traveling, this and that. But Steven and you have been clearly the 2 standout guests. And so I have some exciting news. I thought tonight, for only the second time in the history of this podcast, I would surrender the reins, hand over the hosting duties, and I would be the guest and let my lovely girlfriend, Kate, drive the show. So here we are. Greetings from Somerville, ladies and gentlemen. I have a new album that I was here to promote, and I've been told that I will not be saying what we're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, here's my girlfriend, Kate.
And we're going to go back to you, Michael, because I'm the one leading this interview. So you just put out an album, The Best of Michael Somerville, 20 years. You've been in the business, and this is a compilation of all of your best and favorite and funniest bits and jokes and all the good things. I guess all of that. No, I didn't.
What?
I guess.
You just summed up.
That was supposed to be a transition.
No, that was a painful summation of how I just spent my adult life. Yeah, all your jokes and little bits and things. Thank you so much. That was really.
I was not given any time to prepare for this. I would have scripted my questions the way that I would have done had this been,
Would you like some time?
No,
would you like to take a time
about
out?
It. Nope, I'm good.
We can pause.
So my first question is, why did you decide to put out a best of album? What prompted you to do this right now at this time in your life? All of your best jokes from the last 20 years.
Well, thank you for asking, and thank you for having me on the show, Kate. Thank you.
Yes, thanks. Really excited.
The reason I did the album was because in comedy, especially these days, your shows, everything gets distributed so quickly. You things get put out on the internet, things get put on social media, radio, TV, Letterman I was on a few times, all that stuff. But you don't have you always want that one place. Back in 20, 30 years ago, 80s and the 90s, you worked your butt off. You did the road and you created that great hour, and then you had the opportunity to put it somewhere, on an HBO special or and those days are kind of over. They don't really exist as much anymore. Your stuff, like I said, gets just distributed so quickly, almost on a daily basis. If you do a joke, it gets tweeted or whatever. So this, to me, was almost like a nod of the cap to the olden days, but also, the olden days.
Those were good days.
They were great days. But also for my fans and friends who love listening to my stuff, like a one place to go and be like, oh gosh, I want to go and hear the best of his stuff because I've enjoyed him for years. So I don't know. Is that a good answer or no?
It's a great answer.
Oh.
Answer.
Ansel. Okay.
Answer. And
Alrighty.
I loved it.
Yeah. Thank you.
What? Well, so as you said, the olden days.
The olden days. I shouldn't have said that because I know you're about to.
I also like to refer to these days as BK/before Kate.
Before Kate, which is my new favorite and funniest thing.
Yes, it's a time. It's a
time.
period. It's a long, sad period of time.
My life before you.
During which you wrote some really great jokes to get through the sadness that and the void of not having me.
Of not having met you.
But what I think is ironic is that so many of your best of jokes talk about girlfriends and living with women and how to treat a woman and all of your past relationships. So I guess maybe we should unpack that a little bit.
I don't know what unpack means.
Well,
that's not the first time you've said that in the last week.
If you continue to watch The Bachelor with me, then we will use that phrase a lot because there is a lot to unpack here. And I'm just wondering, who are those girlfriends? Do we need to name drop anyone, particularly that inspired the best of? Like a really
I don't
big
think
inspiration?
so. No, I think that more. This is this is more of a compilation. My jokes tend to be more of a general, overarching compilation of people and things, not necessarily about one specific person. So no, I don't think there's anything that you need to unpack or dig into or unearth or whatever other terms that they use on The Bachelor. I think. Go ahead.
Do you have then? If we're not going to go there because it feels like we're not.
Okay. Well, you're the host. It's up to you where we go.
Listen.
You can dig as deep as you want.
I can pivot real quick. So, I guess non-girlfriend related. What? I don't know. Any favorite memories or stories, or when you think about some of the favorites that are on this album, like that stick out in your mind about, the first time you told one of the jokes or where you were when you knew this was one of your best of.
Yeah, every joke, my favorite jokes, unbelievably, I almost remember the moment that I wrote them, literally to a T. One of my favorite jokes that I have is, and the reason it's my favorite is because comedians love it, and as a comedian, you tend to, as much as you want to please the audience, it means an awful lot to you when the other comics laugh or like it. And my joke about my hands being so soft, what's your secret? I don't use them. That's years and years ago I wrote that, but it was, I loved the joke. I thought it was funny. And then I was opening for Daniel Tosh, who's a great Tosh.0 on Comedy Central. I was opening for him up in San Francisco. And he told me the joke. He told me my own joke back a few times that week. He's like, I just love it so much. And so when you have a comic, who you respect and like that much, and then many other comics, Mitch Fatel, a lot of great comics to this day have mentioned that joke and even recalled it on social media as recently as this week. So those jokes, yeah, I particularly love. And then the wardrobe joke, you'll hear other comics, they love it. When I talk about, I'll never forget, I literally had quit my job. This is 20 years ago. Here's the anniversary. And moved back and give up my New York apartment, moved back in my parents' house in Jersey. I said, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. Everyone thought I was crazy. And I was literally in my childhood bedroom. And I was writing, and I wrote the joke about, what's in my closet based on what's left in my closet, tonight. I don't do laundry till there's nothing left to wear. Based on what's left in my closet,
I could either go swimming or... No, I did it wrong. I could either graduate from high school or go swimming. I did it backwards.
Come on.
Oh my gosh. I thought I had that one down.
Who raised you? I don't understand. You actually do my material
I do.
better than me most times, except that time.
I know.
You were under the gun.
Pressure. And I wasn't ready for it. But it's funny that those are the two that you just said because those are my nephew and my niece's favorite jokes, respectively.
Are they?
My nephew loves the hands are so soft, and Natalie likes the swimming or graduation. So I have heard those two from them, and they do it definitely better than what I just did.
Yeah, well, you messed up the joke. But so I wonder if I've written anything good since then. That's got to be,
Since then, I guess it was a long time period, 20 years. I was thinking recently. Clearly, I'm jumping ahead to the present day and the, during Kate period, but because there's a lot.
What do we call that? If it's BK?
I don't know.
Is it AK or just?
It. Well, it's not A. That would be after. That would imply that I'm done. So it could be DK, like during Kate. Okay. But I just don't think you need to define it. It's just
It's
It's
just
just a state of
finally.
being.
Let's call it. Thank God, finally,
Yeah,
I
it's the
found
end.
you.
It's
The end.
over. I'm just kidding.
It's the end.
It's
It's
not
over.
the end because there's a lot more
Is this it?
different types of jokes to come now. that
Well,
I'm
which is
providing
an
you
interesting thing, by the way. Most past girlfriends, not that there've been many,
Mhm.
but have generally not been fans of being written about or talked about on stage. You have been unique in that you've actually said, "Where's the material? Let's bring it." So
Yeah.
I was secretly writing about you for a long time without
Mhm.
telling you,
Yeah.
and then you recently were like, "No, let's hear it."
I think I'm pretty funny. I think I offer. I mean, I understand you're not telling jokes about how funny I am, but I think I am providing some good material to joke about.
You provide very good material.
We're a good
The thing,
contrast.
well, the thing I think you don't totally understand is that it's not always like you need conflict for a material. You need a problem for a joke. You can't
Right.
it can't just talk about I
And
love
there's
you.
just no problems here.
You-
Unless there's something we have to unpack.
we're always unpacking here. This is our new thing, huh?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's my favorite
Well, no,
place.
but I was pleased for honestly. I go to New Jokes Night at the Comedy Cellar, an amazing night where you get to unearth this stuff. And last night I was there, and I was ripping jokes about you, and people were loving them. But they all loved you. They wanted to meet you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's fine. Listen, I do what you got to do. I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. Back to my list of questions that I prepared here about 5 minutes ago. We talked about your favorites. So how about how you put together the album? Because I witnessed some of the process that went into making the album here in the past few weeks, and it seems like a lot of work. And so I guess what does go into putting an album like this together? Tell me how you did it. Tell everybody. It's a lot.
Well, that is interesting, and
Seemed like it.
no, well, thank you. It's a lot of work. Well, obviously, I mean, the hardest part of making an album is writing jokes and making them funny enough that you think they belong on an album. But then the thing to me that's always been interesting is a lot of comics, and the comics I love and think are amazing. They'll like have a big comic, like a recording for their album. Like, this is the night, this is it, come here. And that's so much pressure to put on yourself.
Yeah.
And I always, like, I understand if you're shooting a special for Netflix or HBO, whatever, obviously you got to do it that night. It's got to be great. But for me, every one of my albums, including this one, I've made in a comedy club and not told anyone in case it didn't go well.
Right.
So I got up and I did the material and I was like, it wasn't a good crowd, never mind.
Right.
So anyway, I did
that
the
feels
same.
smart.
Well, yeah, and it's also, again, if you're unsponsored, if Netflix wants it and they're all coming out with their money and their cameras, then obviously it's go time. But for me, I've been self-producing these albums, which I love. I get to control everything in terms of how it sounds and everything about it. And so, this was the recording part was fun. I did it in Las Vegas at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club. One of my favorite club in the world. And over the course of 7 nights, and there was one main show that obviously really kind of popped. But if your joke didn't work or there was a word or something that didn't, you could have other nights to fill in the material. So that was the great thing about it. But then you witnessed over the last few weeks the post, which is, the real work of things in terms of putting it together, editing it, listening, promoting all the nuts and bolts of what it is. And that's my least favorite part as a comedian. I mean, I like to be on stage and be funny, and then there's a business to it, which, I always tell you, you come home at night and you say, what did I do today? And it's just,
not in a condescending way or accusatory way at all. It's just a general question you ask when you come home for the day. Just want to clarify.
Well, more often than not, though, my answer tends to be administrative. And what I mean by that is I didn't write. I would love to be in a position where I was just writing all day and being creative. But the truth is, between booking flights and hotel rooms and rental cars and comedy clubs and bios that need to be sent and promotional this and that, and then the album and website updates, all that stuff. So that tends to be a lot of the work of what we do. I'm not sure if I'm even answering your question.
You were. I would like to say, though, as we talk about the administrative side of it, as someone who does go to an office job every day and knows a thing or two about business and administrative tasks, my favorite part, and for the listeners, since Michael doesn't like to talk about me much or share much about me, I
You taking over here?
I am an accountant slash auditor by trade, and I spend my day in front of my computer or with clients, but like literally in front of my computer all the time. And he asks me if I could help him with one task for the album. Not sure if it would be something I'd be able to help with, but do I know how to use Microsoft Excel?
Excel.
And when he asked that, I was like, oh my God.
Excel.
I don't know that you realize that I have Excel up at all times, every day, all day.
Do you really?
Yes. Any accountant or finance type person, I mean, to ask, do you know how to use Microsoft Excel made me really laugh. And you know, I was happy to oblige. I think I did some of the most basic Excel formatting. And
this album wouldn't exist without you.
I literally just, copied one cell all the way down in a file. I dragged it down for any Excel inclined listeners, and Michael thought I had done the greatest magic trick of all time. I felt pretty good about myself because I'm not crazy proficient in Excel compared to some of these young kids I work with.
Compared to me, you are
that was
rock
Excel
star.
101.
You
were in awe of me, and I was like, oh yeah, watch me copy and paste.
To be fair, now I don't, as a comedian, you don't have an office, you don't have coworkers, and you're out of the loop. You don't know what's going on with the latest apps,
right.
The latest programs, whatever. And so I rely on you heavily, as you well know, to like even tell me what's going on in the world. Like what are people talking about? What's the latest app? What's the thing?
Relying on an accountant.
But at least you exist in the world. Like
I do.
Yeah, I try not to leave this apartment. So it's a wonderful thing. It's fair. Yeah, it's a great place. So anyway, when it came to Excel, I was like, this is news to me, and I don't have it. I don't have it on my computer. I don't have any of it. I don't have any programs because you got to pay for them.
Well, I have it. It was a pleasure to assist in creating this album.
You were a part of it.
I know. I hope.
Do I owe you a percentage of money if it makes anything?
I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't even thinking it until you just said it, so maybe we should talk about that. But I was just going to say, I hope I get a shout out or a credit somewhere for my
Can I do it right now? Thank you so much, girlfriend Kate.
No, I meant like on the album itself.
No, it's too late. It's already been published.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow.
Well, how about the next album?
For the next one.
Well, let's say
the next one to me because it can be about me.
Well, it is largely about you. The new material is very much about you, but I got to be honest, it's not going that well. It's not getting that many laughs.
Whoa. All right. Well, I mean,
maybe it's
we've
because
got time. We're going to work them out. We're going to see. We're going to...
it's early. We just started 2 months ago.
Listen, if you have to make more fun of me, do it.
Well, that was the thing. You kind of seemed to think that jokes about you were just going to be talking about how much I love you. And that's not really comedy.
I'm not sure I said that, but I have a lot of things that you could make fun of listen, I'm not going to take it personally because I know if it's not true, so it's fine.
The jokes.
It could be based in truth, but the joke itself will not be malicious, so it's fine.
Of course not. No, it would never be mean, but even Jerry Seinfeld was just doing an interview.
We're about to take a turn. Keep going.
Okay. Well, you're the host. But even Seinfeld just was doing and sometimes his wife gets mad at a joke, and he says it's my comedy family. It's not my real family. It's a comedy family.
Right.
But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking because I see that look, and I'm not sure what you're doing.
I was looking down at my notes to see if I could pivot back to a new question.
Okay, well, you don't have to pivot. We can just...
Well, I was going to start, I don't know, do we want to unpack more about your favorite bits, or do we want to talk about, my next section was going to be...
let's not talk about bits.
Okay, what's next for you, both in the near... I have this is a two-part, multifaceted question.
Well, is this about us as a relationship, or is this about my
career?
About
you.
I feel like you're asking about my life and my career.
Well, I think that they're intertwined, just, work-life balance is, both things together. They can't be completely separate. That's what I've learned.
They were for my entire life, and until I met you.
BK, right.
BK. Exactly.
Well, my question is, what's next for you in the near term? Are you doing anything fun to celebrate the release of your 20th year in comedy and your best of album? And then after that, it's more longer term. What are you planning and what's on the horizon, and what can we expect from Michael Somerville in the second half of 2020? Near term, Q2. We've just
Q2.
Yeah. So we're not yet there. I mean, this is the end of Q1 right now. March is the end of Q1. If we're talking,
is that right?
Yeah,
Well, you gotta
fiscal
tell me these
year,
things.
calendar year speak. Q1 is January to March. So we're wrapping up Q1.
Okay.
What are we doing? What do we have planned for the next few quarters? And yeah, longer term. Tell me.
Yeah, nothing planned and no long-term plan.
That's it.
That's it. Nothing really on the horizon. No, I think you probably know, you and I are about to take an amazing trip of a lifetime to Australia and New Zealand,
Yes.
which is which is thanks to you as a comedian and largely single for most of my adult life for some strange reason, as attractive as I'd like to think I am. I. I never, I always have time to go places. I have a lot of time off if I choose to schedule it. I don't have a regular work job that I need to put in for time off, but I never had anyone to travel with. And so I had opportunities once in a while. I would extend a trip if I was on the road for comedy, but I never really wanted to go somewhere alone. You, on the other hand, have worked very, very hard for most of your career, and I was lucky and fortunate enough to meet you, and you have this great sabbatical, a month off for your work, which is a wonderful thing, and so we have planned this great trip to Australia and New Zealand together for basically the month of March, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited, and I can't say that I necessarily released the album and then decided to celebrate with this trip, but I did time it that way, that I would be putting something out that I felt good about, and it would be out there and working for me while I was, for the first time really in my life, taking a true vacation. So yeah,
we did take a true vacation over the summer when we went to Europe.
Last summer, yeah, but my mind wasn't in that.
No, I was going to say, I just want to rewind a bit. I felt like that was a pretty true vacation.
No, that was...
We have been very lucky
a week
to
in
do
Europe.
Some really fun trips so far, and hopefully more to come. But yeah, Australia and New Zealand for 3 weeks is pretty exciting.
That's going to be insane. I've never done anything like this, and it's the other side of the world. So I'm super excited about that, and I hope to... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, either you and I are gonna grow closer or break up, I would think.
Well, I mean, one or the other. I don't.
There
could be something in between.
What do you predict?
I'm gonna say grow closer because I just don't like the other option. Those are just too.
We did do Hawaii for a week and we grew closer.
We did Hawaii for 10 days. We did Europe for a week.
Yeah. Okay.
We do live together. Yeah. So
that's a fair point.
For a year now.
Is that true? Is it? Wow.
Yes, literally over a year we've lived together. I mean, time flies when you're having fun. I know. So if you were to really think about how long you've been here, it probably equates to 7-ish months.
8 months, 8 months. Yeah. So all right, we're about to get intense here. Okay.
I think and with me not working, you not doing shows, I think this is the longest stretch of time that either one of us has gone.
I think you're right.
Without working, which is really exciting.
It's really exciting until the visa bill comes, but that's another.
But YOLO. You know what that means? Oh, geez.
I know what YOLO means.
I was like, uh-oh.
I know what YOLO
means.
Yeah. No, I know what YOLO means.
We're not going back to Australia and New Zealand anytime soon. So
we should
enjoy ourselves. And I think that, when we planned this back in, I don't know, months ago, obviously didn't already have the date for this album to come out, but I feel like the timing is perfect because
we
both have great things to celebrate.
And I did once I knew we were going, I did steer it this direction, so this is no accident. But to answer the second part of your question, what's next? That's a great question, and I don't want to get too deep and boring for people listening. But in terms
but
of...
I'm pregnant. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
What?
That was a real...
What? Is it mine, or are we still not... Are we going to Australia?
Sorry. Just felt like I should throw that
really?
There. We're at 20.
That worked. What are we at, 25 minutes? I think it's plenty of time on the podcast.
That was a twist no one saw coming.
Yeah, it's coming soon, episode 2.
Just didn't want you to downplay it. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
You're not pregnant, right?
Definitely not pregnant.
All right.
We're good.
All right, and it would be mine.
It sure would be.
Okay.
We're,
Okay. Well,
we're
I know
gonna
you're not pregnant.
we're gonna go and enjoy the wineries of New Zealand and have a lovely time. And yes, that is not. So back to what you're doing at the end of 2020.
No, I mean, it's a funny career. You start out. I was just having a conversation with some comedians last night about this, and you don't know. I mean, it used to be back in the day, you wrote jokes, and one of your friends got a sitcom or a talk show, and the rest of them wrote for it, and that's how it all worked. And now, obviously, with the internet and everything else, it's everything's dispersed. There's no one path. There's no one way. So it's hard to figure out. But at the end of the day, you keep creating content. You keep writing jokes. You keep my web series, How to Blank a Man. You just keep trying to do things that you think will be in some way or form, accepted or liked by people, and potentially pay you something, which is, not that you love doing comedy, but at the end of the day, you do need to put the lights on in your apartment. And so I'm going to keep writing jokes and hope people like them. I think our relationship has honestly fed a new fire in terms of stuff to draw on. I mean, being with you, meeting you, moving in with you, and who knows what may come next has been a lot of fun. And so I've laughed a lot. Last night I was at Comedy Cellar doing new jokes about you and just what it's like to live with you, and people were just eating them up. I mean, and literally like first time jokes I was reading off of a page, and I felt like people couldn't wait to hear more. So
Aww.
I'm kind of excited about that, and not to be cheesy, but sort of excited about you.
Aw, I'm excited about you. Look at us. Look at us being cute. Displaying affection.
Yeah.
What else?
Via audio.
I know.
No, I think that's plenty. I'd say we wrap this.
You have a big album release headlining of the Comedy Cellar on Thursday night.
That is true.
It's a late night.
Yeah. Well,
It's
and
on
again, I don't know when people will be listening. So we're talking March
immediately.
5th.
When they see that I'm hosting, they're going to listen right
March
now.
5th, 2020 at the Comedy Cellar, 11 p.m. at the Fat Black Room. But yeah, I will be, the album release party will be there. I'll be having my friends on it. A lot of great comedians who have, in one way or the other, been part of it. Andy Fiore, who's an amazing comic, and Marina Franklin, one of my favorites and first comics I ever met, who I love dearly.
Yeah.
Marcus Monroe, who just got passed at the club, and of course Ed McGowan, who edited the album, and he's been doing comedy as well. So I'm excited for that. But if not, then people should just go to Best of Michael Somerville, like iTunes, music.
Yes, where can we plug everything? Where can we get the Best of Michael Somerville? Plug all your things. That's what I hear them say on the podcast.
I was going to say, you're pretty good at this, by the way. How do you feel right now as a host? I mean,
I feel like I've done a pretty good job for my 2 minutes of prep time.
I threw you into it. I said you're about to host.
We finished watching an episode of Love is Blind. Highly recommend for the listeners out there. I'm plugging my stuff. It's not even my stuff. I'm going to plug Love is Blind on Netflix. Really good first season. I'm not sure if they can replicate, just the chemistry and just everything about it. It feels very authentic. And then secondly, obviously The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. Oh my gosh, we have a new Bachelorette. She's 38 years old. Right? About time. Way to go, ABC. Super excited for that because Peter's season has been so horrible. I've made Michael watch with me so far, but I can't get behind any of these women. Peter's so wishy-washy. He's feeding into the drama, and he's going after 23-year-old girls. No 23-year-old girl is ready to get married. I don't care what they say. So that was what I just plugged. It has nothing to do with me. It's just the two things I'm really interested in from a dating show perspective. Back to you, Michael. Sorry.
Hey, what about these 23-year-old girls? What's
it? Listen. Wrap it up. No, I'm just kidding.
Please check out my new album. It's called Best of Michael Somerville. A lot of you have listened to me and supported me over the years, and I can't thank you enough. It's the reason I'm still doing this is the love and support from family and friends. And this is all those great jokes that you've loved and probably know and recognize all in one place. It sounds great. It was taped in Vegas. It's on iTunes, Apple Music. It'll be on Spotify very soon. And again, thank you so much. Can't believe it's been 20 years. If anyone told me how much work it would be to do this as a career, I would have run the other direction. But I was young and for some reason confident and thought I had something to say. And here we are. Here's to another 20 years of great laughs. And thank you again. Thank you for having me on your show, Kate.
Thanks for being here, Michael. Cheers.
Greetings from Somerville. Oh, let's do it too.